Hello and welcome to an all new episode of Deciphered right here on the CryptoCast Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you guys today. But before we get into that, want to, of course, let you guys know that we are here at CryptoCast.network. You can follow us on Twitter at CryptoCastNet. And we have just launched another show, Perspective, which we're going to interview writers that have so various writers in the space that are writing Medium articles. I want to have them be able to provide more detail and more color. So we're going to do a show about interviewing them about their latest articles. And I have a couple of these shows lined up in the future. So stay tuned for that. And we just launched our merchandise channel, ladies and gentlemen. We have CryptoCast for the people who are just listening in the audio. We are screen sharing the shirts that we just launched for our merchandise. We have the CryptoCast logo, the Bitcoin News Show, and the One Vortex logo. A bunch of cool shirts there and a bunch more coming. And of course, this network is supported by viewers like you, so we are screen sharing both the address and the QR code for donations. We really appreciate that, guys. We had a couple the other day, so we really appreciate it. And this is hopefully a journey that we can all share together. So aside from that, we have, of course, the programmingwithbitcoin.com workshop, where we will be teaching application developers how to integrate Bitcoin into their applications, specifically C# developers. And if you're not a C# developer yet, hey, you can definitely check that out. There's plenty of free tutorials online. Learn a little bit about C# and then come and take the course. We teach a lot of, you don't even actually have to know about Bitcoin, because we do teach the Bitcoin fundamentals as well. And this is, of course, taught by me and the creator of the library itself, Nicolas Dorier. And you guys can check more about his information soon. We'll have his information in the show notes. And then, of course, we have the dates right here, guys. We are coming to Las Vegas, September 1st. And then right now, the date is October 6th for San Francisco. We might change that, but we haven't had any orders yet. So we'll see how that goes. But for sure, we have November 3rd for Seattle, Washington. And we'll be coming to more and more cities. If you guys want us to find you, please visit us at programmingwithbitcoin.com/contact and drop us a line. Let us know where you guys want us to be. We'd be more than happy to go. We'll be teaching BTC Pay Server in there as well. And of course, that's what we'll be covering today. So let's stop the screen share and get right into it. Really am proud to bring you guys these guests today. We have, of course, with us Nicolas Dorier, the creator of Bitcoin and BTC Pay Server. How you doing, Nicolas?
Yeah, great. So. Yeah, I just want to say for the workshop, it will be very focused on actual app development. So like no protocol, just a little bit, just enough to know about how to make apps with it, but it's really focused for developers,
yes.
Not protocol developer.
Yes, and what Nick likes to say is, we like to in the workshop, we're really going to cut through the crap. We're going to cut through the BS and get you exactly what you need to be able to begin integrating Bitcoin. There's going to be no fuss, no extra noise. It's just pure signal. And again, guys, it's kind of like a boot camp. We're just going to throw at you a whole lot of information, almost an entire college course in the span of 2 days. So we hope that you guys will enjoy that. We'll have programming challenges and all sorts of different stuff for you guys ready to go. Source code, of course, to take home and all that good stuff. So that should be a great time. We're really looking forward to that. And again, the first workshop, guys, is September 1st in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then we also have with us Rockstar Dev himself, one of the contributors to BTC Pay Server. Rockstar, how are you doing, man?
I'm awesome, man. Every time I'm with you and Nicolas, it's pretty awesome as always. And I am really looking forward to seeing that course you guys will be teaching executed. I reviewed some of the materials and really excited about that, man.
Absolutely, and we thank you so much, Rockstar. Rockstar did help us review some of the materials and some of the PowerPoint slides and stuff like that. So we really appreciate him weighing in, because again, he is one of the contributors on there. So we want to get right from the horse's mouth, guys. We're right from the creators, and that's what you'll find on our course. So without further ado, let's get right into it, guys. So today I want to talk about BTC Pay Server. This software, this open source software created by Nick here, has been sort of taken the crypto space by storm. There's just a whole lot of attention being given to it these days because people are just finding it so easy to use and so intuitive. And in addition to that, guys, it just works. Like it has a one-click deploy that allows you to deploy to Azure, and it just works. So we really appreciate that. There's a whole lot of people talking about it. So I'm going to ask Nick now maybe to give us a little bit more detail on BTC Pay Server. And then after that, we'll, of course, ask him what he's working on, what the latest developments are, and all that good stuff. So first, Nick, maybe you can just explain a little bit about BTC Pay Server and why you started it, why you created it.
Yeah, so basically, the reason why I started it was during the SegWit 2x bullshit of last year. Before I was a very good supporter of BitPay, and I got very shocked about all this drama. And I think that even if Bitcoin, the protocol, or even if the mining will be decentralized, it's not perfect right now, but even if it was decentralized, we cannot have the advantage of Bitcoin if all the top layers are centralized into trusted party. And Bitcoin comes from a very Linux environment, which means that engineers in this space start to think that users know way more than they really know. So I started developing BTC Pay just to give an alternative to those centralized infrastructure providers that start abusing their users, and also making it easy to install, without you having to take computer science courses or IT courses to get it done. And so you can be free without too much technicality.
It's great, yeah. So you started this during the big debate last year when BitPay sort of went rogue and sort of took some funding from Bitmain and never was the same since. They don't have SegWit. They continue to charge these crazy fees, including something called a network fee, which they just throw in there. And
so the network fee, there is a reason why they are doing it. Actually, in BTC Pay, you can activate it or not. So imagine that somebody wants to pay your invoice, but for paying your invoice, it sends you I don't know, 20 transactions instead of one. It means that as a merchant, it has a cost to send that to your exchange. So that's what it sends to reflect. But on their side, they're really abusing the cost of it. It's clear.
So there you go. So I guess they are abusing this network fee then, and so that's a bit unfortunate. And of course, they still don't activate SegWit. They're running BIP 70, which is not a standard BIP in the ecosystem. People have to convert their transactions just to be compatible with BitPay. So that is extremely frustrating. And so so it looks like you decided to take this matter into your own hands and create a open source alternative to BitPay. Yep. So this allows you to be your own merchant processor. This allows you to be your own BitPay. And that's really, really important and powerful for companies in the space, because you no longer have to rely on a third party to accept your Bitcoin. And that's just huge. And because this is accepting Bitcoin natively, this will run with your own full node. So you don't have to actually ask anybody else, any third party, whether you received your transactions or not. So again, this allows anybody to be their own merchant processor. And in addition to that, I want to say that a big part of what you've done, I believe that you've sort of articulated here too, Nick, is that you've brought together all of these applications in an easy to install manner, because as you say, most of these engineers that are developing all of these libraries and these various libraries, even that work with BTC Pay Server, they're all command line based. They don't work together well easily. And so you've kind of brought this together into a really seamless package, in my opinion, that allows you to be working with all the components of BTC Pay Server really, really easily with just a one-click install, I believe. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so it's really something I do I working on from day one, since the day I learned about Bitcoin, actually. So my library and Bitcoin, it was basically exactly the same thing, except at the library level, where people around the GitHub was doing very small projects that have no utility, but simple command line stuff. And you had one part here, another part here. And so when I start learning about Bitcoin, basically what I was doing was taking piece of code here and there and putting it together to my library. And then, after lots of dog fooding, then you start refactoring your library into something more and more usable. And actually BTC Pay is just the the continuity of what I do. I do for Bitcoin since day one, basically. It's just that now that the library is very solid and has a very good base, I can afford to build very easily stuff on top of it and eating my own dog food as well.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So yeah, so it sounds like this is just a continuation or an evolution
Yeah.
of your journey within Bitcoin, because
Yeah.
I think you were fed up too that there weren't really any C# libraries out there for Bitcoin. And so, you wanted to, take the initiative here and create that. And now we have this amazing library that you said you can dog food and use for additional applications like BTC Pay Server. So it's almost like BTC Pay Server is just another beginning, like just the beginning. Who knows what else you'll build with NBitcoin. And again, that's just really powerful, guys, because NBitcoin is the most extensive and complete library for C# when it comes to Bitcoin. So it has implemented all the latest BIPs. And so it is really, really easy, really easy to use. And we're actually, of course, going to do some demos later on. But for right now, let's go to Rockstar here and start and ask him a couple questions. So let me ask you, Rockstar, what got you into developing and working with BTC Pay Server? What made you choose to contribute your valuable time to this open source project?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is really easy, man. It's Nicolas, So I mostly saw him coding on his own, with all this stuff, and then I was like, let me join in and help out, because and Bitcoin was already featured in Andreas's book and I told Nicolas several times, we spoke, like, it's crazy that he ported like whole Bitcoin core to C#. It's ridiculous. And there is that, as I told you, that infamous bug with OpenSSL that he also reproduced behavior. So it's quite impressive. And both of us were authors on a code project. So, it's easy to read, each other's articles. Yeah.
Say it one more time, Nick.
So,
say it one more time.
So very nostalgic. Code Project, it's like a community website for C# developers, and I was writing a lot in the past. So yeah, my first article on Bitcoin was on this website.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, people should go to Code Project and read Nicolas's article on NBitcoin. It's like revolutionary, man. About bankers and all that stuff. I mean, it's quite something. So it's as you said, it's impressive, and Nicolas is a code machine, man. So the stuff that he already did with MB Explorer, like, then he added BTC Pay Server on top of it. It's just fun to be part of it, part of that.
Awesome.
So
absolutely,
that's how I'm here.
Yeah, so it sounds like you just saw all of this amazing code, and it was just this one guy, like, taking it all on by himself, and you decided to maybe help him out a bit, and that's great. And I think that's kind of that mirrors a lot of other developers and people contributing to BTC Pay Server, because I mean, there's a bunch of people you guys have in the Slack. I mean, there's a bunch of known people, even people like the noted guys are in there, Pierre Richard, Bitstein, a couple of those guys are in there, and there's just more and more people that are joining, and so that's really great. And so I think what Rockstar Dev is trying to say is we're mostly just all riding off the coattails of Nicolas right now. Of Nick is taking
not now, forever.
Forever and ever. So we are not worthy, Nick, but no, we definitely thank you, for all your open source contributions, Nick, as well. And that's a big goal with the Programming Bitcoin Workshop as well, is to be able to get these guys paid so they can work on open source full time. Like that's a big part of programming with Bitcoin. Of course, the main idea is to get more developers working with Bitcoin, but another one is to be able to get these guys behind this amazing open source software paid. So, but go ahead, Nick.
So it's very good that we can do these courses, but really one of my main reasons to go in these courses is before Bitcoin, actually, I was a technical trainer, Microsoft certified trainer for .NET programming. So it's like coming back home for a while, and also I wrote lots of things about NBitcoin, but I think that there is lots of material that still need to be written, and like helping more, documenting more and explaining more to the community how to use NBitcoin. I think it's very important. So when I start doing NBitcoin, basically, I was a bit joking in building on Bitcoin. When I started Bitcoin, I was going to conference like I was the only C# developer in the room. Like in building on Bitcoin, there was at least 10 or 20 of them. So I was, no, 10. So I was quite proud of it. So if we continue like that, I think that I will take over the, and I will, I call that, start the hyper.netization.
Here we go. We have coined a new phrase here, ladies and gentlemen, on the show. Hyper.netization, or I think that's close
on the way.
That's all. It's coming, guys. So Nick, it sounds like you being an educator is something of a passion of yours, and that's something that you've done in the past. As you said, you were a Microsoft certified trainer, and so this really is kind of coming full circle for you, coming home as an educator, being able to educate the public about something that you're passionate about, which of course is Bitcoin and the combination, of course, of Bitcoin and C#. And that's what's really great, because me personally too, I am a C# developer, and there just wasn't that many people in the space. There wasn't really anything to gravitate towards, and I think that what we're trying to do here is to create this environment, create almost like a place where people can, C# developers can come home and learn about it. A place where everybody can come together and learn more. And so in addition to that, towards that effort, we actually are coming out, I'm building a site very soon that will be coming out called bitcoincsharp.org. And this again will be sort of like a place where C# developers can find everything that they need to get into Bitcoin. And it's gonna be great because I also eventually want to do new original tutorials. In the beginning, it'll just kind of bring all the links together under one roof. But in addition to that, in the future, I'd like to do more tutorials depending on how successful the workshop is and stuff like that. And of course, in addition to that, guys, we want to do an online workshop, an online version of the workshop. So there's a bunch more stuff coming, and I think that together we can really build this C# community inside of Bitcoin. So very, very cool, Nick. Let's go.
Documentation is super, 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 super important. I think that's one of the only reasons why Ethereum is where it is today, is because they have good documentation for getting people on board. So I'm happy you take the initiative to do this.
Absolutely. For developers, I mean, tutorials, documentation, that is what it's all about. And it's going to be really nice, I think, to have this all under one website. So let's go back to Rockstar here and ask you real quick before we go to Nick, what have you been working on recently within BTC Pay Server, and what are your plans maybe for the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, my main job is project that's still in stealth mode. I spoke a little bit with you two about it, and then as a hobby, and fun, man. Like, this is all so much fun. So I join and see what I can help with. The last big thing was that L&D integration that Nicolas wrapped up, man. That's what I think. That he is, a code machine, man. I just did the foundation, and then he took over, and now we also have Jack with a bunch of stuff. So that will be quite fun. But the latest thing that I took to work a little bit on is, as we mentioned, BitPay, man. I think we were all liking what BitPay did a lot before this whole Bitcoin Cash and all that stuff took over. So I was really sad to see what they did with listing BCH as a first currency, preferred currency to pay with. So I started doing that payment button generator, because Nicolas already did most of the stuff, but I just wanted to make it a little bit more user friendly, and I'm wrapping that up pretty soon.
So you say that's the pay button, and I think the inspiration for that was probably maybe BCH and their pay button that they like to point to.
Yeah, and the great thing about, because Nick already did in that POS, there is a support for that, and you can do some interesting stuff with checkout, similar to what PayPal did. So I'm excited to see that finished and in production soon. You saw, I announced on Twitter yesterday or 2 days ago about it, so people seem to.
Yeah,
Everybody seemed to like it, man, except Craig. So that ban by Craig was a bonus, man. So
Yeah. For those that don't know, I did get blocked by Fake Satoshi this morning
today.
For just a few minutes ago for a comment about economics. He was, of course, just like Roger was trying to say, saying that value is derived from exchange, and of course that is not the case. Money is not derived just from exchange. The value of money it has to be a store of value first before it can be a medium of exchange. And
Why bother to talk with them? Like,
no, I mean Nicolas doesn't want to talk. The thing for me, just when people can talk, as soon as like that, those bans and yelling takeover, like,
yeah, it's a good point because It's a good point because on Twitter, like, you're not going to learn anything if you just keep blocking people. And that's what we've seen a lot in the BCH community, the BCH crowd, and even in the Segwit2X crowd last year. Like these big, huge CEOs just started blocking all these developers and the people that are these engineers that are trying to tell them that you guys are going down the wrong path. And they're like, no, block. And so, of course, we saw where that ended up happening. Of course, Segwit2X completely died, just like we all predicted it would, both on the World Crypto Network and many other places as well. And now, of course, we just got some information out about BCH and about Bitmain and their order books, what's on their books. And of course, it's a lot of BCH on their books, and we won't go into much of that right now. But guys, check that news article out, and we spoke a bit about it on the last Bitcoin news show, so also check that out. But let's go to Nicolas here next. And ask you, Nick, or Nicola. I always get it wrong, guys. The English pronounce is Nicholas, but it's actually Nicola. So I'm going to get that wrong all the time. But that's why I just say Nick. It's just nice, man. Nice and short for Nick. But let me ask you, Nick. So let's ask you. So Rockstar said he just finished up or is working on finishing up the pay button. What are you working on right now on BTC Pay Server? And we'll also talk. I'll ask you both, you guys, what are you doing in the future? But right now, Nick, what are you working on in BTC Pay Server?
So what I was working. Today and yesterday, I was very focused so I took lots of time to try to remove as much as possible user inputs in the process of setting up your own BTC Pay Server. And I found a way. So right now for the one-click deploy, before you had like two boxes, one to put your username of SSH and your password of SSH when you create your VM. But actually, I found out that I can remove those two information, and instead, when the VM is created, like create a private SSH key and give that to BTC Pay, so I can expose the SSH connection inside BTC Pay, which means that people that don't know what SSH is, they don't care. Like they can just use BTC Pay as is. People that know what SSH is, then they can just, get the private key or like register their public key when they set up the server with a one click. And so because BTC Pay Server know your connection in SSH to your server, it means that I can do some operation without having to ask for credential for the users. That before I was asking so before, if you wanted to do, for example, an update, or like to change your domain name, you needed to connect as an administrator on BTC Pay, go to the server settings and enter your SSH credential. Now you don't have to enter SSH credential, so I removed one step.
So that's really great. Just real quick, let me just recap. So this basically removes, the goal is to continue to removing these barriers of entry of setting up the software. And so this is just one more of these steps that makes it just that much easier. So now there's one less question, guys, in the setup, and that is awesome. So if you want to add some more color, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, and so the next thing I think I will focus is a feature I think that will help at the same time shops that have subscriptions. So I take to the example later, and also exchanges. So here is my long-term goal for BTC Pay. So BTC Pay for some stuff cannot like compete with some payment processor, centralized payment processor, mainly on the fact that some merchants want to accept Bitcoin but be settled in fiat. Okay. But
The fiat issue is that you're talking about. Yep.
yeah, but one thing that is very painful for exchange for a centralized payment processor is to be compliant to all the place they want to support their service, right? So if you're BitPay, you need to be compliant with Canadian law, US law, European law. So it's pain in the ass. But the expert to such regulation actually already exists in all countries, and it's exchanges. All local exchanges know the local regulation of their place, okay? So my goal is to make so that exchanges can use BTC Pay to add a payment processor very easily to their own exchange. They don't have to mention that it's BTC Pay, because BTC Pay, thanks to the amazing work that Rockstar Dev did, it's customizable with your own CSS. So they don't have even to show that it's BTC Pay. And so the idea will be that any exchanges can propose their own payment processor to their customer. And so their customer will have the regular BTC Pay experience where they create their own store. But except that when the customer pay on these stores, this is automatically converted into fiat thanks to the exchanges that is behind it. So I will provide an easy way for exchanges to do this kind of stuff. So this is one thing. But this, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to review that. So keep your thought, but I got to review that because that is just awesome, guys. So what he's talking about here is providing an additional business model or revenue stream for exchanges to be able to use BTC Pay Server to actually have a merchant processor, to become a merchant processor for their customers, so that they can actually provide this ability, because you see they have the ability to work with fiat. See, if you're just doing crypto, BTC Pay Server is all you'll ever need. It's just amazing. But if you want to deal with fiat, right, which is a lot of people, a lot of businesses need to deal with fiat still, and credit cards and all that, an exchange is kind of already set up for that operation. So this would allow them to be able to become a merchant processor with this open source software. And again, because of Rockstar's work, because it's like a white label, you can actually customize the CSS, so nobody actually even has to know that it's BTC Pay Server on the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Continue, Nick.
So, but actually, I'm also excited because exactly the same features with exactly the same UX can be used for services that require subscriptions. So take an example. So I was talking with I don't remember his nickname on Mastodon. So it's somebody that is hosting Mastodon instances, and some people were asking him, why don't you accept Bitcoin? And he said, well, I don't want to ask the users to pay every month or to think to pay every month. And so what I was thinking is, what if for such kind of users, BTC Pay can be used the same way? So the idea is that, for example, for DNS providers or for hosts like this, what they want really is like customer pay some amount of Bitcoin, and then it's like prepaid on their accounts. And then every time, for example, every month, the provider like pulls the money out of these accounts. So like you can consider that a bit like an exchange actually, because like you're trusting your money to this provider, and this provider takes the money every month to provide you with this service. So actually the UX, the user experience for my goal, for what I want to achieve with exchanges, and the user experience that for what I want to achieve with those prepaid subscription-based services is exactly the same. So that I think that's the next thing I want to work on.
Very, very cool. Yeah, that's powerful as well. And even in addition to that, I'd like to remind the viewers and audience that there are actually hosting providers, web hosting providers that are already offering BTC Pay Server instances. So you guys, if you're not a developer and you just want to use BTC Pay Server for your website, there are hosts now, and we don't have any listed here. But if you guys come into the BTC Pay Server Slack, I know that there's a few in there. The only thing I remember off the top of my head was BTC Jungle. I think BTC Jungle
Yep.
is one of the
Lightning bolts. So and lightning bolts. So those hosts are very interesting. If all you want is accept Bitcoin on chain, just use this. I mean, I will prefer if you host your own, but if you just want to get started, see what BTC Pay looks like, then you can just use them. It's very easy to set up.
It's really nice, guys. You pay your little bit of Bitcoin, and if you're in your hosting provider, and they provide you with everything. So yeah, that is a great point, Nick. That is a good. It's a good way to get people into BTC Pay Server without having to require them to download, install, unpack, and all that good stuff, right? Yeah.
And the money goes directly to your own hardware wallet. So like the host don't get any chance to stealing your money. So
that's another great point. Yeah, the people that are using BTC Pay Server, that are hosting BTC Pay Server, you still set up the private key yourself via your hardware wallet. So even these hosts, these instances of BTC Pay Server, you're still in 100% control of your coin, and that is key, guys. That's what's really, really, really important. That's the ethos of Bitcoin that we try to push, that we try to continue, that we try to instill in the minds of these developers and of this community, is that we really want to enforce holding your own keys and not just creating more banks, which will just have us end up with the same situation that we're in all over again. So, yep, great points, Nick. Great point. So let's also
there's only one downside with hosts like this, is that they cannot accept Lightning payments. So you can receive Bitcoin payments on behalf of somebody else, but if you want to do the same thing with Lightning, then you need to be a custodian. So that's why they don't provide this service.
Yeah. So right now, you do, if you want to accept Lightning with the BTC Pay Server, you will have to run your own Lightning node instance right now. So I don't think that there is any host that allow you to do that yet, but that's coming soon, I'm sure. And it's all just setup and configuration that the host would have to do. But for right now, you guys can definitely start accepting Lightning on your website right now with BTC Pay Server.
Yep.
Again, open source, check it out. Really, really great. So let's go to Rockstar first and ask, what are you working on maybe in the future? What do you have any ideas and plans in the future? And then I think after that, we can maybe go to a demo. So what are your thoughts on the future of BTC Pay Server? Rockstar, what are you working on for the future?
Yeah, I mean, man, you heard Nicolas. So I think all that I'll be working on is, being able to catch up with him, man. So with all the, ambitious plans, but I'm mostly focusing on what we can do with like merchant adoption, and I'll be talking at that Voice of Blockchain conference on like merchant adoption, and I'm also excited to see what we can do with Jack, because he has some plans about merchants doing their own point of sales and accepting Bitcoin, accepting Lightning payments. Stuff like that. Also, Bitcoin, sure, he recommended, like, if we do this payment buttons, we can even support people creating their own buttons and then providing public key derivation for certain buttons, so they don't even need to create like the full instance of BTC Pay Server, as long as they can just create a button and have something like donate button, which would be awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, like I love that, as Nicolas was mentioning, exchanges, but I would also love to see more business understand what they can do with this technology, because the way Nicolas built it is awesome. And just then shout out to Jeff from Cheap Air. Like, I love what they've done, and I love that deal, and I'm hoping that more bigger businesses will go down that line, especially if we help them out with this exchange stuff that Nicolas mentioned.
Yeah, and that's great, because Cheap Air did use BTC Pay Server to begin integrating. They actually dropped BitPay and started using BTC Pay Server, and now again they're using this. They're saving a ton of money on fees that they were paying to BitPay, and now they have 100% control over the user experience of it as well. So that's a great thing. And then in addition to that, they were helped out by the BTC Pay Server guys. Like they have a Slack that anybody can join, and if you guys have a question, they're there to help you. I mean, this is just kind of part of this amazing open source community. I mean, I personally don't know how Nick does it, how he can code all day and still answer all these freaking questions in the Slack, but dude, I see it. It happens every day, and it's just really amazing. So definitely check that out, guys, if you get a chance. And then in addition to that, as Rockstar mentioned, they are going to be working with Jack because Jack Mallers of the Zap Wallet, they have some interesting plans for merchants, guys. Jack released some screenshots a while back, just a little while back, maybe a week or two back, about a merchant solution complete with the store interface and everything, just beautiful, and again, completely open source, easy to use, and integrating with Jack's Lightning wallet. So very cool stuff coming down the line. I'm really excited to see the work that you guys and Jack will do collaborating together. Just it's going to be, I think, unprecedented.
Yeah, I actually my priority, I said it was exchanges, but my priority changed as soon as Jack asked me for a new API. I will put all my power on this. So because I think he's doing like very important work on the UX perspective of Lightning that is frankly amazing. So like everything you need for the backend, I will just work on that as priority.
Code machine, man. I told you. See,
it's just it's like whatever, whenever Nick wants to work on, he'll work on it, complete it, then work on nothing, then complete it. But yeah, so we really are looking forward to the integration with Zach's with Jack's wallet, and of course the merchant tools there. So very cool. So let's go ahead and go to Nicolas then for a demo. Maybe we can start to see what you have lined. Maybe you can explain what we're about to see, Nicolas, as well, and share your screen, because I think we don't real quick. We don't want to like give an entire installation demo or anything like that, but we did just at least want to demo the BTC Pay Server software itself, so you can get kind of an idea of how easy it is to work with. So go ahead, Nick. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So wait. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yep, we can see your screen, which of course is me right now. But yeah, there we go. Okay. So for the audio viewers, we are about to do an on-screen demonstration. Go ahead, Nicolas.
So basically, I won't show too much about the installation, but it's something that is very important to me. Like the first step of installing the software is something that took me so much time that I just show very quickly. So for non-technical users, they can really just use this deploy to Azure button. And so if you have an account on Azure, as you will see, the wizard is quite easy. Here it is. So in all of this that you can see for setting up your server, the only thing that you need to fill out is this resource group. And actually, the name is not very important. It just needs to be unique. All the other options, like you don't have really to fill in anything. You can just say, I agree and purchase, and it will create your own BTC Pay Server. What's kind of interesting to you is like mainnet, testnet, reg test here, the supported crypto that you want on your instance. So right now I support only 2 crypto on Azure deployment, because else it's too much for the machine. So it start crashing if I add more than 2. And of course your Lightning Network implementation, see Lightning and NND right now. So basically you do this, you just click on purchase, it loading, and then you create your website that is similar to this, that you can connect directly.
Yeah, this real quick. Yeah, this is what the default view after you set up your instance. This is what the store actually, the website actually looks like. So it's, as you can see, very sort of set up already to go for your store. Go ahead, Nick.
Yep. So the way it looks, so like here I'm logged out, but the first account that you will create, there is a register. The first account you create is the administrator, and so when you are administrator and you're on your instance, you have this this menu here, server settings, and basically it's where you can kind of manage your instance. So there is lots of different stuff that you can do. For example, if you don't want people to register to your service, you have disable registration here. You can set up. You have so for example, here on my BTC Pay, I'm using LND. So here I have the information connection for my LND. I will come back on this later. You can customize your team with the awesome work that Rockstar Dev did. So you can create your own Bootstrap CSS style, like put the link here, and like you can change the whole interface of BTC Pay completely. And you can do some interesting things like changing the domain name. So here it's my domain, or updating the server. As you can see here, it's asking me user settings, but actually it's because it's an old version of the server. So if I use a new version here, so it's what I was working yesterday actually, and today. It's here. So now with the new system, you see that in server settings, you don't have to enter your SSH settings. So this is old one, and this is new one.
Yep, one less setting we gotta worry about. Very cool.
Yep. So actually, some people don't like the fact that the BTC Pay knows the SSH, but you don't have to set it up like this. If you don't set up the SSH keys, basically it will end up like this. It's your choice. So yeah, there is all these different options. So this is as a server administrator. Okay, so as a server administrator, the first time you create your server, basically the first thing you will want to do is changing this domain name to your own. And click confirm, and it will just change it. Everything that is certificate, HTTPS certificate and everything, you don't have to deal with anything. It's automatically renewal. Interesting stuff that you can do. So for example, as an administrator, I can go to services. If I am on my new instance, you can see in services, you can have like SSH informations. So here you have everything you want to connect to your to your VM. Here, my instance don't know SSH settings, so I don't see it. But on this instance, like here, I have access to gRPC, so I can click here. And if you click on this button, like show QR code, you can see a QR code that you will be able to use with mobile wallets. That can connect to LND. So you scan that with your mobile wallet, and you will be able to connect to your LND server hosted by BTC Pay, and yeah, control it with your mobile very easily.
And that's how we basically turn on Lightning or configure Lightning within BTC Pay. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
So that's it. You know, like no other settings. You know, like in this custom deployment, you say BTC Pay. You click here, LND, purchase, bam, you have this.
Beautiful, beautiful. Maybe let's go to the stores. Let's start with the stores because I think we got enough settings on there. Let's go right to the meat.
Okay. I wanted to show you Zap connecting to this.
Oh, sorry. Oh, maybe. Oh, well, you know what? That will be kind of cool though. It's hard to say no to that, Nick. Maybe let's do that real quick. It's hard to say no to using Zap.
So. Here is Zap. Well, it always takes some time to open, but Zap Wallet right now doesn't allow you to scan this QR code directly. For now, I'm saying I think it will change it after a while. Okay, so here you have a button, BTC Pay Server. You click here. So here you will see my macaron and everything to connect to my BTC Pay. It's okay. To my LND, it's okay because I have no money on it. But here you click here. Okay, open configuration file. You copy paste this stuff here. Next, it asks you if you want to connect to btcpay.nicolas.dorier.com. You say okay. It's loading. You can use your LND wallet.
Beautiful. You just connect your LND wallet to your BTC Pay Server just like that.
Yep, exactly.
Very awesome. Just a couple of clicks there and copy and paste. And again, you know, Nick continues to refine this, right? So we continue to make the processes easier and easier and easier. Right now, this is how it is. It's pretty easy, but it will even get easier as time goes by.
Yep,
that's really cool.
Exactly. Yeah. So one thing is that I don't have time to do too much support. So when I get lots of support on a particular point, it means that the UX is not good. So I refine it quite quickly.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great thing. That's great, Nick. So like when Nick says when there is some issue and he notices, because again, guys, he does the support for free. When he notices people are having issues with certain UX, he will change it and make that easier to go, make that easier to use. So very, very cool. Very good.
So yeah, when you are creating your own store, actually, you know what? I will just create a new user. Maybe, yeah, I will just use this server. So I will just create a new user, whatever. So when you're creating a new user, so your first thing you want to do is to create a new store. So you click on here.
Real quick, just so the audience is aware, Nick, this user now is not an administrator. This is just a regular user that manages the store.
Yep. I just created a regular user. So like here, you can create a store. I don't know, my awesome store. And the first thing that you will need to do when you create your first store is to configure what you will use to accept payments. So right now, if I try to create a new invoice, so here I'm going in the invoice tab. If I try to create a new invoice, I will come back here. Don't worry if I go too fast. But you will see it say that I need to configure a derivation scheme. So a derivation scheme in BTC Pay is to teach to BTC Pay how to generate addresses, basically. Okay?
Yeah, we need to tell BTC Pay Server how we're going to generate unique addresses for each customer, for each transaction. Yeah.
Exactly. So the way you do that, so once you created your store, here you see you have derivation schemes part. You just go modify, and you enter the derivation scheme. So there is a small documentation on this, so it's quite easy. But I made it more easy with Ledger Wallet. So once again, I would plug my Ledger Wallet just to show you how it looks like. Entering my PIN code.
And this is allowing you to, what he's doing right now is he's plugging in his hardware wallet to connect to the store so that, again, your private key, even your XPub key never gets actually stored anywhere on the internet. You will have 100% control over your funds with your hardware wallet.
Yep. So here I just plugged my Ledger Wallet. I just refreshed the page. And as you can see, my instance detected it. Okay, so here I will take, for example, account tree. You can take whatever account you want. It's not very important. And it will just fill out your derivation scheme here. Okay, so when you do continue, it just tells you to validate the addresses. So if you have another wallet somewhere that is using the same derivation page, you can check. But if you are using Ledger, it's always good. Just say okay.
Yeah, we just want to, that'll present the first addresses that it will actually generate. And so you can, for example, test that with your hardware wallet to make sure that the addresses that it's generating is correct.
Yep, exactly. So from there, actually, your store can be used. You know, like here I create a invoice. So in invoice menu, create invoice. I can create a new invoice here. And that's about it, actually.
Yeah, so from here, so the invoices, is what you actually are going to create programmatically on your end, and you just send them over to BTC Pay Server, and then it will create this invoice and present this UX for the customer so they can pay. And this again will all show up in your backend of BTC Pay Server, and of course it'll show up however you integrate it in with your own database as well.
Yeah. So another nice stuff I want to show. So if you are an admin user, it's very easy to set up lining. I will show you how. But here, I'm not admin, and I could very easily set up my own page. One other thing I can do that is very cool. So in apps here, I can create what we call a point of sale app. So I call it whatever I want. I pair it to my store. I say OK. So here you have some settings you can put, but I will keep the setting like this so you can understand. And here I have directly a page that I can share to people that want to pay me something. So if somebody wants, I can share this URL, and if somebody wants to pay me a t-shirt, you just have to click on the button and bam, it creates the invoice.
So that one particular app, quote unquote app, that's what you're calling it within the BTC Pay Server.
Point of sale, yeah, point of sale app.
You can have multiple products in that one app. Then just copy and paste that code to your website.
Exactly. So in the if you want other products, you just have to modify these settings. That's it. It just works.
Very, very
and
cool.
Here you have some code that to host it on another website if you want. So it's very easy.
Yeah, so you can actually, you don't actually have to have your front end on BTC Pay, the server itself, because it does have a whole front end for you. So if you don't want to build that, but if you want to use your own custom front end, you follow the instructions there below, which Nick just showed, where you copy and paste that form to your own website.
Exactly. So yeah, really, if you can just take the source code of this, copy paste it wherever you want, and customize it as you want.
Let's keep the screen on the store real quick while you talk for just a minute. Go ahead. Yep.
This one? Sorry?
Yeah, this is correct. This is the right. Let's keep this screen up for a second while you talk. Yep.
Okay. So other thing I wanted to show. So Lightning Network integration, just to show how it looks like. So here I have a normal user. The normal user cannot connect to your local LND instance. Okay, you have to be admin for this. So I will just connect as admin again. Okay. And when you connect as admin, there is very interesting things that you can do. So I just created a new store. I will pair it again with my ledger, just real quick. Okay. So here I created it. And here, I have in my store settings, I have Lightning Network nodes here. And you can click on modify. And here you have very useful link. So here I detail if you have a Lightning node somewhere, you can connect it to it. But if you are admin of your server and you are hosting a Lightning node on your server, you can just click on this button here and set it up for you. Okay? And then you can test the connection, see if it works. Great, my node is working. Do submit. And now that's it. If I want to, I will create a new store. I should not have called it test.
It's okay. Create a new store, create a new item. That item will be able to be purchased with Lightning.
I will just rename it. Okay.
The best store name ever is Test.
Okay, so it's test. So I will just create a new post app. Same thing as before. No change. Page. And now if I create like I don't know, I want to buy a beer. I put his email, and now you have the choice.
Boom! Now you can choose to pay via either Bitcoin or via Bitcoin Lightning.
So the merchant most of the time don't have channels connecting to them. So like they need, the customer, if they want to pay, so it's really pain point in Lightning. I think it need to be improved, but you can connect to my node with this information here. It's my node information.
So you actually display the node information for the person to use their wallet to manually create a quick Lightning channel.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool. And of course, in the future, guys, with Lightning, this is all going to be done automatically. But we're in the early days right now. Manual creation of channels sometimes.
Yep. And so I don't see if you have seen, but like this page, the checkout page, thanks to the awesome work also that Rockstar did, it's entirely customizable with your own CSS. So you can even hide that you're using BTC Pay behind the scene.
Completely hide the logo, add your own logo, your own CSS, make it look just like your own store.
Yeah. So you have nice stuff here. So so you have another tab that is called wallets here, where you can manage your own wallet. So I don't have money on this.
But this is where the transactions show. So if you actually have your when you have transactions come in, this is where you'll show the actual balances that get transferred to your wallet. So
here is the important things as well, is that you can send directly. Same thing, it's connecting to your Ledger wallet. Okay, so you can send from this page directly from your Ledger wallet. Just work. Okay.
Beautiful.
But one interesting thing is that, as you know, like BTC Pay support lots of altcoin. Also, like Bitcoin clone is very easy to support with BTC Pay, which means that basically BTC Pay is like one of the only multi-currency wallet that you can self-sovereign basically. So if you have other shitcoin that you want to altcoin that you want to support, basically what will happen is that in this derivation scheme you have LTC or like, I don't know, like Dogecoin, Monacoin, whatever, and you can just manage your wallet directly from this page. That's it.
That's great. Yeah, I think we can wrap up the demo now, and that's great. So that means BTC Pay Server currently does support altcoins as well, guys. If you do want to accept that, of course, we at Programming with Bitcoin will only accept Bitcoin, but that is up to the individual person who's running their store to choose what they want to accept.
Yep.
Very cool.
Do you want to show? Yeah.
Can we wrap it up, or do you have one more thing to show?
Yeah. Okay. Quickly. When I'm started, it's hard to stop me.
So, no problem.
So yeah, in the checkout page experience, so you put your logo, CSS, whatever you want, the default language that you want, this kind of stuff. And another thing that I spend lots of time is about the rates. So like, actually you can choose the exchanges that you want. Okay, so imagine that I'm in Japan, so in Japan Bitflyer, for example, you can set that. It's very easy. But actually, when you accept altcoin, like, you know, some exchanges don't support all the peers. So like what you can do is like to turn rate rule scripting, and here basically you can create your own rules on how to calculate the exchange rate for each currency pair that you want. So there is some tutorial here. I won't go into the detail, but it's very easy to say. For example, if you have Doggy, instead of using GDAX, you use, for example, Bittrex or whatever, and you calculate really how you want to show the rates. Yep.
Very, very cool. That's very important because, you know, when the customer is checking out, they want the best price that they can get. So, you know, you usually choose one of the larger exchanges usually to get that price of whatever the Bitcoin or altcoin is at that time of checkout.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, last thing as well, like here you have all your invoice page where you can see what has been complete, what has been not. So here it's testnet. Obviously, I didn't receive 1,000 USD, but
you're rich. You're rich, Nick.
Yeah, I'm rich. But here, yeah, you can see all the different events that happen for your invoice and debug stuff. So it's very easy to manage. And I think I show everything. So
yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. So, just to recap, so we've showed you the main interface that you use to interact with BTC Pay Server, which of course has your ability to create a new store, create new products, and view your invoices, and of course set up your hardware wallet, which is really important so that you can control the funds. And so, and as Nick mentioned again, you in order to send those funds out, you need that hardware wallet as well, so you can because the funds are actually stored on your hardware wallet. So,
you don't have to. You can just, if you want, you can just use Electrum. Some people are doing this.
You can do that too. You don't have to, but it's just really, really cool, Nick, that you have integration with these hardware wallets. Very, very cool. All right, cool. So I think that's about it. If you want to go back to if you want to stop sharing screen, very, very cool. All right, so let's close this out. So let's just ask, Nick, one final question, I guess. Like, let's see. Well, actually, let me just let you close it. I'll say what you want to say. The floor is yours. The final words will go to you first, Nick, and then we'll go to Rockstar for a final closing statement. So go ahead, Nick.
Well, so as far as BTC Pay is concerned, I like more and more people trying out. So I quickly show the one-click deploy of Azure, but once again, you don't have to use Azure to host BTC Pay. Like all BTC Pay is basically encapsulated into what we call Docker Compose. So like it's very easy to run on your own server if you want. And I will be happy to help. If you have any question on this, you just go on the Slack, you ask 2 people, lots of people are playing with it. So you will get response. I think we have better support than BitPay, and it's entirely community driven. So like it's fun.
That's
Try
awesome.
it out. Try it out. You will have fun.
That's awesome, guys. Better support from this open source product than probably BitPay. I mean, it's hard to deny that, guys, when you can just go into the Slack and ask Nick or Rockstar Dev or any of the community members in there, and they'll be more than happy to help you out because they're in the same boat. They've been through the same issues, so they know what's going on. So very, very, very awesome, Nick. We thank you. We thank you so much for your support. Let's go ask Rockstar real quick in closing statement. Rockstar, do you have anything to say before we end the show? Go ahead.
Just to repeat what you guys said, I mean, if anybody wants to join, come to our Slack. It's pretty fun. Like, and it's getting more fun lately, I must say. Yeah, with Stuff Tech and Dogecoin and all the other people that are joining up. I love even like those cheap air guys are there. So yeah, we'll keep spreading the gospel, as I said, like now traveling a lot. So I'll also try to get few people to join us because, it's just great what you can do with open source, and even just meeting you guys is awesome. So like, we'll keep rolling and keep improving.
Absolutely, man. Great statements, guys. Thanks so much. I mean, as he said, as Rockstar had said, you can even accept Dogecoin if you really want to with this software. Don't know why you'd want to, but there are some Dogecoin.
Man. Monacoin as well.
It's a dog on a coin. Come on, it's awesome.
All right, guys. So we'll just thank the audience. Thank you guys so much, the live viewers. Thank you for everybody in the chat for asking the questions. We hope that you guys learned something today. We did want to share out this information about this open source software, and of course, the guys here are super proud of their work, and we are super excited to have them on the show. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. Again, if you guys want to learn more about BTC Pay Server, please check it out. Go into their Slack. They're more than happy to help you out. And of course, the workshop that we are doing, programming with Bitcoin, will be supporting this as well. We'll be showing you guys how. Let me share the screen real quick. We'll be showing you guys how to work with this software. Screen share. There we go. We'll be showing you guys how to work with the software in the workshop itself. So come on down and check us out. We are going to be in Las Vegas September 1st, San Francisco October 6th, and November 3rd for Seattle. And that is the Programming with Bitcoin workshop, again, where we teach you Bitcoin and BTC Pay Server straight from the creator himself, Mr. Nicolas Dorier. And again, guys, this has been CryptoCast Network. We are supported by you guys, so we really appreciate it if you guys could check out the merchandise or throw us a tip whenever you get a chance. But that's really about it from us, guys. We really appreciate everybody joining. And until next time, guys, please keep talking Bitcoin. We'll see you guys later.